So Trey, it's become really clear to me from our conversations this week that the PGA Tour really is passionate about driving the game of golf forward. Seems like you guys are launching something new pretty much every season. So what makes the game of golf in general such a fertile breeding ground for all of this technical innovation we've seen in the last couple of years?
Yeah, golf is a really unique sport. You know, it truly is a year-round sport, and every week we are playing at a different golf course all over the country and all over the world. And when you think about the golf course we're playing at, it's happening over 150 to 200 acres, and there's 156 players and 30,000 shots on a 4-day tournament. Yeah. And so that's a lot to cover. And what we want to do is for our fans, but also for our players, is to make sure we provide coverage for all of them and for every shot that's hit. And one of the things that's really interesting about golf, it's actually very non-linear. So when you think about traditional sport, it's a very linear from the start of the game to the end of the game. But for golf, the action of what's important for a fan could be happening on the 6th hole, or it could be happening on the 18th hole. You don't fully know. And so being able to provide context into every shot is really important.
Yeah, I think that alone was kind of such an aha moment for me, where it's, golf isn't just focusing on one field of play. It's focusing over an entire course. So there is so much that can be going on at one time. And I think from a fan perspective, one of the best things you have rolled out in recent years that's kind of helped me digest everything as I'm watching a tournament is TOURCast. So let's take a second and talk about that. What is TOURCast? How did it come about?
Yeah, TOURCast is something that we're really excited about, and we've done a lot of innovation in that space over the last couple of years. The original intention behind it was to make sure that we provide coverage for every one of our players at every shot that's hit. And so what we go and do is we create a 3D representation of the course, and then we do shot trials as players hit shots. And that's something that's been really cool for our fans, because they can go and watch the coverage live and watch as the players play through the course, but they can also look back at historicals. And our players use it as well, whether they're coming up to a tournament they played last year, they can review their round, they can review where they hit specific shots, or even directly after a round, they're able to go back and analyze how they played and make different strategy decisions for the next round after it.
That's awesome. I think we actually have a visual representation we should throw up on the screen now. Kind of walk me and our viewers here through what we're looking at. This is what TOURCast has been previously, right? So what are we looking at?
So here's our TOURCast product. TOURCast was born on the idea that we want to show every shot for every player. When you're watching the broadcast, you are able to see about 25% on a normal week. However, we know that fans want to follow their favorite players and see how they perform throughout their whole round and across the whole tournament. And so what we've developed is a 3D representation of the course that allows you to follow shot trials and get different types of data in order to keep tabs with your favorite player. This is also a great tool for our players to use, as they can go back and look at how other people are playing different holes, or they can look at how they performed in previous rounds or previous years.
Something you brought up that I hadn't realized was the thing was I love it as a fan, right? And I'm sure fan reception has been pretty solid to it overall, right? So I get to follow my favorite player. I don't have to wait and hope that they come on the main broadcast. I can follow them throughout the tournament. I didn't realize players were also using this to kind of see how they can play the hole, what their previous shots have looked like. So that's really cool. It's for players and for fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're able to provide a lot of data to our players so that they can work on strategy decisions. They can look at what they did in previous rounds, but they can also look back into previous years in order to make different decisions and understand how different holes played.
All right. Pretty cool. Hey, we have somebody coming online now. Binary Online said it's amazing to see PGA Tour utilizing AWS cloud technology, and I couldn't agree more. And seeing every shot or the TOURCast live, Nick, I was surprised they didn't get you on there with some of your. It'd probably just be blue lines kind of going off screen there.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't actually have a good comeback for that. That's just true. But real quick before we dive into all of that, I don't know if y'all noticed the very subtle QR code that popped in. You're probably thinking, what's with that, right? Well, if you guys are liking the show so far, and we're going to get into some of the tech that we use with the PGA Tour to enable some of these different products, scan that QR code, try out some of the tech for yourself. But you can also be entered, if you follow that QR code, for a chance to win 2 free tickets to a future PGA Tour event. So, I mean, I would do it. I think it sounds pretty cool. PGA Tour events are a blast. So scan that code. You're going to see it pop up another 1 or 2 times during the show in case you missed it that time. But, keep your eyeballs out. Should be a fun time.
Yeah, I don't know if that excludes AWS employees. I certainly would.
Unfortunately, I
Be
think it
scanning
does.
out. Hey, Elaine, so we are a huge fan here on the show of origin stories. We want to know why something came about. Not just like, I mean, the tech is very cool. And of course, we always want to show the tech, but we want to understand like what was the need and then how did AWS address that need? So if you could walk us maybe through that with the PGA Tour, that'd be great.
Yeah, so the basic need that TOURCast really delivered on is if you watch golf on a broadcast, right? And it sounds like you guys are golf fans. You've watched the broadcast. And so if you have a favorite player that's not in the leader group or in the feature group, you don't get to see their shots or very much of their play. So that's really the problem that TOURCast solved. Now you can watch that player's shot the entire game. And so it served the fans, but it also helped the players. So one of the things that the players like is gathering information from TOURCast. So we had to lean in because originally the data source for TOURCast was in all these different storage systems. And I don't know about if you guys know this, but servers do not like to travel in trucks. And so we had, it's just a thing. They don't like it. The temperatures, PGA Tour is like a traveling circus, right? They go around every week. They're playing in different places. And originally the data source was like AS400s. For those that aren't that old, I don't even know if you guys know what that is, but it's an old server in these trucks. And so to really take TOURCast to the next level, we had to migrate all of that data into AWS.
Elaine, I think you might just be making up some of these old tech terms because we won't know what they are. But I'm sure somebody in our audience certainly does.
We've all been there, Todd. Yeah. But I think we have a question that actually was my next question. Let me see if I can get this username right. Aerosenin-FPS. We talked about, we came together. We decided that we wanted, as the next step of our partnership, to work on this system. What actually powers it? What's the technology behind it?
Yeah. So the beautiful thing, and I think this is what makes our relationship with the tour super special, is we don't pick a particular service. What the tour does is they come to us. They have a really hard problem to solve, and then we use our services as building blocks to address that. But TOURCast in particular, they use some of the technology that the digital team, and this is for TOURCast, it's across all of the PGA Tour's digital properties, their app, their website, the augmented reality, virtual reality. They use, and I'm going to throw an AWS acronym out there, as Amazon CDK. But I'll explain it. It's the cloud development framework that the tour uses. And really, this is a way to quickly provision cloud infrastructure. And because they have this standard framework, they're able to quickly do new things. They're going to come out with a player portal here recently that's coming out over the next couple of months. That's all built on the Amazon CDK.
Wow. And the other thing in talking to Trey and you, Elaine, the last couple of weeks is that what I love about this partnership is kind of the investment from both sides. And, there isn't any complacency. We designed this really cool TOURCast system, and we wanted to keep innovating, and that all culminated in the launch of a pretty cool new feature that we got to see live a few weeks ago. Why don't we roll the next clip?